Good morning. This is Doreen with ThoughtStorm Journal. Were you ever hated or shamed for something you were good at? Or did people around you maybe not even notice what you're good at? What if each and every one of us was treated like we have a gift to offer the world? What would it be like to live in a world where everyone was evaluated from the time they were born to find out what their gift actually is? And what if school and family dynamics were structured around nurturing and celebrating that gift so that we could actually use that gift for the benefit of humanity? Sound like a fantasy? It is in a world where people find our gift to be intimidating, unsettling, frustrating, or even enraging. No one can see or value what we're good at because it doesn't fit with what they want us to be or what they expect from us. Here's a strange analogy. There are many dogs that end up in shelters for various reasons. But for many, the reason is that they're too much for that particular family to deal with. They have too much energy, they get bored easily, need too many walks, want to do nothing but chase a ball all day, aren't trainable, tear up the furniture, tear up everything. And the owners just think this dog is impossible or defective. And this family feels they have no choice but to hand this irritating and unruly dog over to a shelter. And they feel justified in doing this because this dog just wasn't what they expected. But then this law enforcement dog trainer comes to the shelter. And he or she is looking for the perfect dog to be trained in drug detection. What they need is a dog that's focused, intelligent, hardworking, and is obsessive about chasing a ball all day, which means they can be easily trained to sniff out drugs by teaching them to switch their focus from chasing a ball to sniffing out drugs. So what dog do you think will be chosen for the training program? Yes, the unruly, rejected dog will find a permanent career. This is the kind of dog that's important for this job. That dog actually has a purpose in life. The qualities the previous owner thought were unruly were perfect for what this dog was actually meant to be doing. And what if I said it's the same with people? Many children are actually rejected in childhood for something they're really good at that no one's noticing. In fact, what irritates a parent most about their child is the very thing that they need to take notice of. If this child has an obsession with something or is freakishly good at something, or has a really irritating habit, it may actually be their calling in life. If they run around the house singing at the top of their lungs, or if they take their crayons to their bedroom wall on a regular basis, if they're on their phone way too much, helping their friends with their problems, or they get in trouble in school fairly often for speaking their mind about something, or having what's referred to as attitude problems. These are the children that we really need to watch and understand that they may have a higher calling. What I find crazy about kids in their childhood is that they're taught that they simply must learn certain things, even if they really have no aptitude for those things. Teachers will try to drill the subject into their heads and insist that they learn it, and the child won't pass into the next grade unless they do. And what's even worse is that they're labeled as less intelligent if they have trouble learning it. And if they keep having trouble, they'll often be shamed for it, or the parents will call in tutors or ask the teacher to give them personal help in this subject that they're not good at and will likely never use because they're not good at it. But there's something this child is good at. It takes them absolutely no effort at all, so people barely notice it and no value is placed on it. All they're able to focus on is what this child is no good at doing. And it's like what they're good at doing isn't all that important. And the child grows up, and the sum total of all these children collectively becomes the society we live in. We don't want little prodigies. We want little robots, little drones in the hive. We want people to conform, not excel. This child learns that what they're really good at is of no value to anyone. So they may turn away from that thing. They may reject it altogether. And this is a major tragedy. We, as a society, have just killed this child's soul. And this is the root cause of a lot of mental illness. This is why I've said that mental illness isn't illness at all. It's a calling. In the case of mental illness, these people that rejected that thing that's so easy for them and that they're so good at doing are being called back. They're being called to what they were meant to be doing all along. So why do we waste so much time and energy trying to mold children into what we want them to be? What would happen if we let them be what they are? Would that be so bad or wrong? And people will think I'm advocating for children not getting a quote-unquote proper education. But I believe that people should learn the basics like they used to say in the old days, reading, writing, arithmetic. Children need to know those things to get by on a regular day in the world. But sticking them in geometry or biology class when they hate it and aren't good at it, and they're more inclined toward art or music or just about anything else, is actually a waste of energy for everyone involved. And it's a waste of money for that matter. Why are we spending money and time to force children into roles they don't want and aren't good at in the first place? Do we really need more doctors and lawyers and accountants out there that hate their jobs and their lives? And I'm not saying everyone in these jobs hates what they do, but many do. Do we want to live in a world where people are well educated and miserable? Or do we want to live in a world where we're valued for what we're good at and where we're automatically allowed to assume that role? Far too many people have children with a plan in place for what they want that child to be in its life. Or they want their children to be a miniature version of themselves. People very rarely ask their children what they really want or what would make them happy. They're often too busy or too indifferent to engage with them and find out what they really have a talent for. And some of them aren't insightful enough to recognize it as a talent in the first place. Is this one of the biggest problems we create in our society? Well, kinda. Now, this may seem completely crazy, but I had some minor talents as a child, though nothing that probably stood out to anyone who didn't care to really see who I was. Only a few people knew what was going on inside my mind. But I had a habit of asking way too many questions and challenging what everyone said to me. And I usually had a reason in my mind for doing that. I had usually thought it out quite a bit. But from a very young age, I challenged my teachers, my parents, my friends, everyone. And I argued with my mother so much that I'm sure she thought she'd been sent to hell for having me. And people seemed so disenchanted with me at times that I kind of rejected that part of myself. And in doing that, I eventually became depressed and anxious. And it took me a year in therapy and over 10 years of soul searching in order to sort out that this was indeed the reason I'm here. To challenge everything, to question everything, to urge people to see things differently, like I'm trying to do with this podcast. So watch your children. Talk to them and learn about them. Get to know them on a deeper level. Watch what they like to spend their time doing. And more interestingly still, watch what they do that drives you absolutely crazy. Listen to what their teachers and other people say about them. Observe the things they do that are virtually effortless for them. Watch what they do that makes them lose all track of time and not want to stop. And try to imagine what the positive reason would be for them to do those things. And it doesn't matter what you personally think about it. This may very well be the reason they were born.